words we use, if it's not the words your leaders use, you know, you don't have to literally do what we say. It's just the format of certain things we do in a certain way. But always remember, whoever your sponsors and your leadership with the most amount of experience that you're following, do it the way they teach you. Just because we teach you a certain invite script, if it doesn't go with what your leadership teaches you, you know, use what your leaders teach you. There's not one correct way. I look at this like a buffet. Take what you like, you know what I mean? And if it's certain things you're not used to doing and you have past experience, don't worry about it. Do what you're used to. We're just going to share with you what we know. But in US, I know Pico device is going to be shipped from beginning of June. I know all of you guys got the email, but ever since I've been quarantined here in South Korea for the last 11th day, I got my Pico G2 device. Mr. Danny Bay shipped it to me separately. Oh gosh, it's so fun. You have no idea. I've been stuck, but I didn't feel stuck because of that. And you know, Mr. Sturt Stan knows exactly what I'm talking about. But it's been awesome. But to kick off this training, the first individual that's going to go over what Mr. Danny Bay has taught us for the last 15 years is the format and the pipeline. Please help me welcome to the call, Mr. Marc Issac. Mr. Marc Issac, can you unmute yourself?
There we go. Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. Michaelon. And first of all, I want to thank you for your leadership and congratulations for every single person that qualified to be on this leadership call. And I know this is really history in the making simply because it's our very first leadership that we're doing just like this for individuals that had to qualify for it. So congratulations, and I hope everybody's having a great time so far. And so I'm excited to share with you really just something that I believe is so crucial and important to understand when it comes to building a very solid, successful business. And, you know, I remember because this was my very first leadership training that I had with Mr. Danny Bay in my previous company, and it completely shifted everything. You know, I remember we got involved here in Houston. We were running things, we were cranking things out, we were building massive production and teams, and we felt stuck. But when Mr. Danny Bay stepped in and shared with us this system about what we need to do at certain time frames, everything started to shift for our organization. And actually in the state of, in the Houston, Texas marketplace, we actually ended up having even regional events with close to 2,000 people. And so it's amazing to see what this system has done for myself, for my organization, and to hear what it did also for Mr. Danny Bay when he was building in his previous company, the success stories that was created. You know, I remember he told me that if you can learn these principles and learn these ideas, you could actually completely change and shift your business. Where first 30 days of implementing what I'm about to share with you, he was able to go out there and recruit 8,000 people in Korea just by implementing this. And so I want to just dive right in and share with you what this is about. And it's called the pipeline. You know, we call it the Danny Bay pipeline, but right now we're going to call it the GPS pipeline. And, you know, there's few steps to understand, okay? You know, if you look at any successful organization, you know, there's a system. There's a step-by-step system for you to follow in order for you to see any sort of success. So when you look at a pipe, what's the purpose of a pipe? It's to go out there. Hold on a second. Let me make sure I want to make sure this is clear for everybody. Hold on a second. Okay. So what I want to share with you is that what's the goal? It's to get someone who does not know anything about GPS and for them to get to the very end of the pipe where you actually have a business partner, okay? And there's steps that you have to follow in this pipe. So the first step is the inviting process, okay? So invite. You have to invite in order for you to share and explain what the opportunity is. The second step is you then have to present, okay? Second step is you have to present. Perfect, okay. The third step is you close. You know, there's different terminologies, but closing is just helping them make a decision if they want to get involved or not, okay? Do you like it? Perfect. And when you close them to get involved in the business, the next step is called launch / during the launch, we got to promote. Okay, we got to promote the next event during the launch. So what we're going to do today is that our next trainer, Mr. David Nieves, is going to talk about what to say, how to handle objections. So we're going to go over the closing section, and then Mr. Michael is actually going to be talking about the launch, the new launch document that every single person here is going to have first access to. So I'm excited for you to see it. And so he's going to talk about the proper launch, and after the launch is training. Okay, they need to go to training. And after the training, the final part is they got to take action. Okay, so this is the system. This is the step-by-step system in order for anybody that does not know what GPS is, for you to have a business partner. Okay, so now let me explain to you a few key things to understand when it comes to this. There's a time frame to do these things. You know, when we always talk about you have to do the right things at the right time, I want to explain the timing process for you to master so you can go out there and get the results, okay? So when it comes to the inviting portion, okay, the time frame is this. So I'm going to put time here. The time frame is 72 hours max. You don't want to invite for more than 72 hours down the road. You know, some people, when they invite and they say, hey, what's your schedule look like tomorrow? Oh, I'm busy, but I'm free next week. Oh, perfect. You know, if they continue the inviting process, but you're doing it past 72 hours, this is what happens. You lose urgency. So you got to respect the time frame, because the time frame is what will create the urgency for people to take the business seriously. Okay, I'll give you a story. I remember inviting a good friend of mine. Okay, it was about 5 p.m. and I was inviting him to see a 7 o'clock presentation that he had to drive to. We didn't have Zoom back then. And when I called him around 5, he was about to get on the plane to go to Hawaii. And I said, bro, don't get on the plane. Whatever you do, don't get on. And he said, what do you mean? I said, you have to trust me. I can't give you information. Don't get on the plane. And I don't know what he was thinking in his head, but he actually ended up not going on the plane, and he came to the event at 7 p.m. and signed up. But I wanted to share with you why it's so crucial, because of the urgency factor, guess what? He took the business a lot more seriously. He took me seriously. He took what I had to say, because he said, if it's something that important for you to tell me to miss my flight just to see this, man, it must be big. And I'm not saying that's going to happen to every one of us, but I just did that to share with people that it's about creating urgency. You know, if you ever have a dentist appointment, we can agree nobody's going to go out of their way to go to a dentist appointment. If you're busy, guess what? You're going to reschedule. So it's so crucial that you keep the urgency factor when it comes to building your GPS business, okay? When it comes to the presentation, I believe anywhere from 15 minutes to 30 minutes max. If it's going to be a bigger presentation like an event, when we do face-to-face meetings, when we have testimonials, more than 2, 3, 4 testimonials, maybe you can go for 45 minutes to maximum an hour. But as for now, for Zoom calls, I really believe the shorter the better, okay? Remember, there's a quote that Albert Einstein says. He says that any fool can make things complicated, but it takes a real genius to keep it simple. Okay, it takes a real genius to keep it simple. You know, this is one thing that I've learned, is that sometimes, even myself, I catch myself that if I talk too much, sometimes it's me trying to lack for my production. But the reality is this, is that if you're simple, people remember it. People realize like, wow, I can do this also. So you want to keep that time frame in your mind when you're going through exposures through the business, okay? Closing 24 hours. You want to close within 24 hours, okay? This is one thing that's so crucial about the closing factor and getting people enrolled and to join the business. When they see a presentation, their excitement and passion, the enthusiasm is right here. After the presentation, their fear and doubt is at an all-time low. But every single minute, it's going like this. It's shifting. Okay, fear and excitement, guess what? It's coming close together. The moment that fear is more than excitement is when you lose them. Okay, Jim Rohn says it the best. He says the birds take them, right? You guys remember? I don't know if you've ever heard of Jim Rohn, the birds, right? But you know, if you try to invite people and you're saying, oh, they're not picking my call, I don't know what's happened. They said they're gonna start end of the week, but they're not even getting on the Zoom calls. the birds, okay? So if you close within 24 hours and you get them to commit, guess what happens? Is that now there's more skin in the game. Now they want to go. Now they want to listen. Now they want to plug into the training. So keep in your mind the 24-hour time frame when it comes to the closing section, okay? When we talk about launch, 24 to 48 hours, okay? 24 to 48 hours. We're going to talk about the launch process, so I'm going to let Mr. Michael on touch base on that. Training, this is crucial, especially right now during quarantine. We got to make sure people go to their very first Saturday training. You'll notice that if someone goes to their first Saturday training, the likelihood of them staying in the business, the likelihood of someone being coachable building the business is a lot higher versus someone that misses their first Saturday training. If they miss a Saturday training, what is the Saturday training meant to do? It's to set the foundation. It's not to know all the details, but everything that we cover at our Saturday training is what's needed to be a success. It's what's needed to be important. So whenever you're going through the motions throughout the week, when you're going through the presentations, your exposures, and you have people saying, well, what about this? What about that? And you keep answering a lot of questions, the best response sometimes you can say is, we're gonna cover that at Saturday training, right? Because most likely when people ask questions, they're trying to find a reason why not to join or why not to do certain things. So the Saturday training covers the foundation. Everything we covered Saturday training is gonna help at least set the right pace for them. Okay, it won't overwhelm them. It'll give them enough information to move. Not to be stagnant, but to actually take action, which is the last part. And this right here, I believe is what was the missing piece for my business back then, right? Because we would go through this whole thing, but when it comes to the last part of the pipe, take action, you want to take action 30 minutes right after the Saturday training ends, okay? Remember, strike the iron when it's hot. When someone just saw a mindset training, when someone just saw the compensation plan training, when someone just learned how the products works in the recruiting side and the next event, that's when you want to take action. That's when you want to set appointments. That's when you want to go out there and really maximize all that work that has already been done, okay? So if you understand the time frame portion of the pipeline, of the GPS pipeline, the pipeline that has built a business in every city, in every state, in every country that Mr. Danny Bay has touched bases on, guess what? You could build a massive organization in GPS wherever you're from, okay? So I wanted to share with you at least this, but I wanted to share something with you. The few tips that I have for every person is that when you go through your notes and you look at this training, when you look at this portion of the, of the Friday leadership, the first thing you have to understand is that I see many people that end up doing these things at the right time. But the problem is that they don't have a full pipe, okay? Their pipe isn't full, meaning if you invite, let's just say, for example, you invite 2 people. You agree that if you invite 2 people, not all 2 will show up, not all 2 will jump on the Zoom calls, right? There's always a flake ratio. There's about a 50% flake ratio. But guess what? If you invite 2 and you only present to 1 person, if you don't get them involved or get them started, right, you can't say it doesn't work. Why can you not say that? Is because you haven't played the number game. You haven't shown it to enough people. Your pipe is not full. Your pipe is like halfway full or a quarter way full for you to be able to really get the results and for it to go to the end of the pipe, right? But also what our job as leaders is this. Anytime someone brand new gets involved in GPS, gets involved in your organization, in your team, okay? You have to help them go through these steps. But the purpose of the pipeline is also this, is if you're inviting a lot of people and your pipe is not, your pipe is full. Let's just say you have 10 people you invited or 20 people you invited, right? But let's just say only 3 show up. What does that mean? It means there's a crack in your pipe, okay? So you have to be able to look at your business and look at this and say, is there a leak? Is there a crack in my pipe that I need to fix? If you're seeing that you're inviting a lot, but not a lot of people are actually showing to the presentation or jumping on the Zoom conference calls, then there's a leak right here that we need to patch up and fix, right? Let's just say maybe you are presenting to a lot of people, right? Maybe you are presenting to a lot of people. Maybe out of the 20 people you invited, guess what? Maybe 15 show up. Your inviting's great. Your inviting's good. But let's just say 0 people are joining the business, right? Where's the leak now? The leak is either at the close or the leak could be even at the presentation. So the key here is to have awareness. It's to be able to see in my business, where is the leak that needs to be fixed? Where in my business do I need to patch up so I can get anybody that sees or isn't being invited to the presentation to go the whole way, okay? So if this makes sense to you and making sure that we're looking at our business saying, oh, okay, you know what? This person just got started last week, but they got started, we launched their business, they didn't go to training, and that's why they're not on this call today, because they didn't know what to do, right? Then guess what? You got to look back and be like, okay, I got to help that person plug into the Saturday. And for a lot of people, we signed up, oh man, I mean, hundreds, if not 1,000 people this past 7 days. So we have a responsibility as leaders to promote the event, to promote tomorrow's training, to make sure they come down, okay? Think about this for a second. Every single week, every single day, our business is growing for all of us. It's impossible to not get more results when you have more people. Like logically, it's impossible, okay? It's impossible. Why? Is because if you do these steps, your business will continue to grow, your business will continue to multiply, okay? So again, make sure that you fix any cracks that are in your pipe. And the reality is this, sometimes you'll get comfortable, but sometimes you'll get too comfortable that maybe you start presenting and you start talking too long, then you have another crack there that you have to be able to patch up, okay? So again, make sure that you have a full pipe, make sure you fix any cracks in your pipe, but this is the last thing I'm gonna share with you, is also make sure to not have a short pipe, okay? And what do I mean by having a short pipe? Trust me, I've been through this many times, okay? I'm not here to call you out, I'm here to call myself out of what I used to do, okay? I remember I would invite, I would present, I would get them started in the business, I would get them started in my organization and close them, and I thought that was it. I thought, boom, I got a new business partner, I'm done, right? And then I didn't get that one new recruit and lead it to 5, 10 more. Why? It's because I stopped too soon. My pipe was short. So what I encourage you is that if you got someone started, remember, we say closing as a thought and idea of, hey, that's the process of them making a decision to get started. But I really look at it as in you're opening a relationship. You're opening a doorway of you being able to work with somebody that's not the end, that's the beginning, okay? Like think about for a second, what's the goal? What's the goal in GPS? Is the goal in GPS just to sign up a lot of people, but nobody gets customers? Is it to have a business that only functions and only grows if you're working the business? No, what's the goal? It's to duplicate leaders. It's to find people that can do what you do. So when you travel the world with your family, when we're all 200K and we're all on the retreats together and we're in Dubai skydiving, we want to be able to be in a position where we have a business that's still running, right? So how you do that is to make sure you have a full pipe and you go through the process. You go through these steps that will truly, truly help you. The goal is not to just sign people up. The goal is to find and develop leaders. Think about, for example, I know I have a group right now that's a very hardworking group. I know Mr. Ken, who actually the document you're about to see, is the one that created the launch packet, and his team, he has a Marine in his team. And what's the goal of the military? It's not to sign people up and they go fight. No, it's to sign people up, make sure they go through the process. So then when they're on the field with you, you're fighting for your financial freedom, right? Isn't that the goal, is to find people that will get involved in GPS and go to war with you to fight for financial freedom together? That's what we're here. That's what we're doing this business for. It's to not do this by ourselves. It's not just to do it with 200 people. It's to do it with 1,000 people, to do it with 20,000 people, 100,000 people. But we all need to be on the same page when it comes to following the system, okay? Following the system. And the last tip I'll give you is this. Did you know that every single person already has a tool that can help you fix your pipe and fix any crack that is crack that might be that might be on your pipe, right? You know what that is? It's called your voice recording app on your phone. If some of you are like, well, I'm not getting a lot of people down. I'm playing the numbers game, right? But record yourself. You know, if you're presenting and you're like, no one's getting started after my presentation, record yourself. You know, I'm trying to get someone involved, but they're just making excuses. And I answered so well. Record yourself. Have you ever recorded yourself and then you listen back and I was like, that's not me. It sounds like me. I know it's me, but that can't be me. Right? I mean, like we've all experienced that before. Is because sometimes in the moment you think you're doing the right thing, but when you look back, it could be a lot better. And the goal is this. The goal is to not be perfect. It's to progress. So many people focus on perfection instead of progression. See, we're never going to be perfect. There's always going to be something new we're going to do. But I encourage you to progress in your skill sets, progress in going through these time frames, to get within the time frames, to respect the time frames, to go through the process, and things will fall in your favor. Okay? And so just remember that every master was once a disaster. Every winner was once a beginner. And every single one of us, this is still pre-launch phase. And if you can have that mentality of going out there and progressing, everything will fall into place for you and we can all build to 200K together. So Mr. Michaelon, thank you so much for everything that you've done in your leadership. And I'm excited because now everybody has the foundation set so they can go out there and really build a solid, strong organization, a thriving organization here with GPS. So Mr. Michaelon, thank you for your leadership and I'll pass it back to you, sir.
Mr. Marc Issac, you're an absolute champion. To see you at 19 years old when you first got started, 10 years later, to see you have made millions of dollars in this industry in your 20s, and to see you just become the product of the product, and to see you sound like Danny Bay. So thank you for all that you do, buddy. Thank you so much. That's a disclaimer, by the way. There's no guest, so I had to say that, you know, because everyone training on this call tonight did, in fact, earn a lot of money in this industry. So thank you, Marc Issac. That's Danny Bay's pipeline. What we're going to do now is go over some of the rebuttals. That's going to help you guys because we were going to get a lot of questions, right? Is this real? You know, tell me more about VR, or like I need to talk to my parents, my spouse, my children. So Mr. David Nieves is going to go over the rebuttals. Again, if you have certain rebuttals that you're used to using, go ahead. All of this, like I said earlier, is just an example. Take what you like, right? And don't take what you don't like. So Mr. David Nieves, please welcome to the call. Truly appreciate your leadership.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Michaelon, and wow, that's all I got to say about Mr. Marc Issac is wow. That's all I can say. So, man, what an honor it is to be working here in this type of leadership. I mean, I feel like, you know, when the tide rises, all boats flow. And you know, you become the average of the 5 people you hang around the most. And let me tell you, when we are hanging around this group of people, can you just feel yourself averaging up? I know I feel myself averaging up just being in this consume. I hope you feel the same way because I feel so grateful to be here. So we're going to talk about really quick about closing, and it's not really closing. I don't like to tell people we're closing people because here's the reality. I want you to keep this in mind. If you have to convince someone to join the business, you have to convince to work the business. And that just wears me out. Though you know, nothing will wear you out more than calling somebody, hey, come on, let's do this. Hey, where are you at? How come you're not showing up? You know, you're dragging. I'd rather run with one to drag 100. Can I get an amen on that? That's the truth. I'd rather run with one than drag 100. So it's not about convincing other people. So when we say close, it's really moving people from uncertainty, because that's what it is, right? It's only uncertainty that's keeping them where they're at, to certainty. So they can be certain that they can be, because here's the truth. It's fear, right? That's at the end of the, when we strip everything away, is fears. And what is fear? The acronym for fear: false, evident, appearing real. That's all that it is. Because let me share with you. If there was a magic crystal ball that we can show everybody that we show this business to will look into this magic crystal, or should we say virtual goggles, they can see themselves 12, 24 months from now, financially free, living the life of their dreams, having a passive income of 6 figures, How many of you guys agree with me that everybody would say yes if there was those virtual goggles that we can show them and see into the future? Everybody would say yes. So the truth is, it's not the business, it's the uncertainty and the fear for them. So we're gonna, and the good news, there's good news here, by the way. The good news is that they're always the same. There's the same excuses, the same, that's all it is, it's excuses that we give ourselves, and we, usually we buy into our excuses. My mentor used to say, hey, if you buy into the excuses, congratulations, you get to keep them. So don't buy into anybody's excuses, and definitely don't buy into your own excuses, because you don't want to keep those. So we want to get people from going from uncertainty to certainty. So let me give you a little tip before I go over the sheet right now, because the sheet will take me 10 minutes to go over real quick, 5-10 minutes. I like to assume the sell already. I like to assume that everybody's going to join me. Why wouldn't you join me? Who doesn't want passive residual income? Who doesn't want to capitalize on an $800 billion shift? Who doesn't want to position themselves like Apple, Facebook, Google, Samsung, and all these companies are positioning themselves? Who does not want to do that? To me, it's like bunkers. Why not? If Richard Branson owns 400 companies and you have one income that's dependent on you being there, man, you're in trouble. Because the moment you're not there, guess what? Income stops. So we want everybody having a second stream of income. So I assume that they're already going to join. So when I'm in conversation with someone, I'm using words like we. We're going to be able to capitalize on this. I use words like us. It's us. Man, I was doing the three-way call today, and I was telling them, man, I know how you feel, because I myself know what it feels like to start over, and I know what it feels like to push the boulder up the mountain. Ask them, have you ever felt that way, that you feel you push a boulder up the mountain and then only comes back down to start over again? And there's like, yeah, I felt that way before. Man, I feel the same way. So I put myself, use words like we, us, together, we all, where, we are, like all, just use words where you're constantly already assuming that we're going to join us, and use those kind of words will bring it together. So let me go ahead and share with you a little bit about this incredible sheet right here. Here we go. Okay, everybody can see my screen. I believe that that's the case. Wonderful. So here's a great, I'm just going to read this because it's so beautifully written. I mean, it's such a delicious piece of information. I mean, if this was a taquito, I would wrap it up and I would put it in hot sauce and I would eat it, because this is such information that's beautiful. Okay, look at this. What is a cushion and why should we use it? Many times, people don't want a solution as much as they want to be heard and understood. Let me pause right there. There's a great book that's called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. If you haven't read that book, it's been a bestseller for the last 30 years, and it's an amazing book. One of the habits is seek first to understand, then to be understood. So put yourself in other people. My girlfriend, who's also, I love her to death. Her name is Brooke, and she always tells me, hey, she tells me, I tend to be an entrepreneur. Sometimes entrepreneurs are like hardcore, like, oh, that kind of deal. What she tells me, David, sometimes you got to see people as if they're a baby and they're hurt. It's a crying baby. There's a small child in every single one of us. And that helped me put myself in other people's shoes. So that okay, whoever's doing that, don't do that. Okay, so the number one thing people want more than anything else is to be understood. Isn't that true? Isn't that true? We all want to be understood. We want to feel like, hey, you understand me. So be sure to listen to their objections. Even though you may have heard the objection many times before, always listen like you are hearing for the first time. Wait until they are done sharing their objection, then use cushion. I can appreciate your concern. Thank you for sharing that with me. I like to say that's a great thought. That's a great question. I know how you feel. I felt the same way. But here's what I found. So feel, felt, found. I understand them. Try to jump on their side and be an assistant buyer. Never argue with them. Never argue with them. Never argue with anyone. I want to remember this. A man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. You're not going to win an argument. They know everybody always feels that they're right. If they don't get started, get referrals from every prospect. So they start saying, hey, David, I just need to think about it. I'm like, I know how you feel. I felt the same way. I thought that I needed to think about it too. But let me ask you a question. What do you need to think about exactly? And wait for their response, wait for their excuse. Then address that concern. And whatever it is that they tell you, you know what? I understand exactly how you feel. I feel the same way. Let me tell you a story. Let me bring someone on the line that felt the same way. And you can always use pivot, excuses, and pivot to a three-way call. It's like a lifeline. Remember that show, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Remember that show? That was #1 show. I love that show. It was like, well, guess who's your lifeline? Your upline support is your lifeline. You have a call. Use that lifeline anytime you want, by the way. Okay, I'm not good at sales. Look, I know how you feel, Mark. I felt the same way. I thought that you had to be good at sales, but what I found, and that it's not our job to sell. It's our job to share, and then there will be an experienced leader who will help us. But let me ask you a question. Are you right-handed or left-handed? If we pay you $10,000 a month to write with your other hand, will you learn? Of course, the answer is yes. I like to say also, hey, this is not sales. This is marketing. I know how you feel. I know I felt the same way. I thought this was sales, but this is not sales. This is marketing. Sales is when you go out chasing people. Marketing is when you have a product that people come to you because they love it. Very, very simple. What's marketing? Sales when we're knocking doors. Marketing is that pretty girl that has the tray at a trade show and gives you a sample, and you try the sample. You know what? I'm buying that product. So what's marketing? Marketing is when you take the headset from your head, you put it on someone else, they have an experience, and they're like, oh my God, I cannot wait to get this product. Marketing, all right? This is not sales, this is marketing. I don't have any friends. Man, I feel sorry for you. No, don't kid it, don't say that. Okay, I know how you feel. I felt the same way. You know what, when I first saw this, I was like, man, I was part of the NFL. No friends left. You only need, but the good thing is, what I found is that you only need 2. If you had a wedding, how many people will show up to your wedding? 2 people at least, I hope 2. At least the priest will show up. Let's get the priest going. And your wife will show up. Let's get the wife going. You got 2 there. All right. I don't have 698. You know what? I know how you feel. I feel the same way. But what I found is never the lack of resources that stops us. It's the lack of resourcefulness. Let me ask you a question. How long have you been working? How many years? And you still haven't saved up 698? You have a response here, but I like to say, hey, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and what? And I let them finish expecting different results. Let's do something different for your life. I'm here to help you. And we, together, we can make this, we can change this. And never again in your life will you ever have a 698 problem. You know what? You know what, Mark? You know what, Dan? You can count on me. I will never let you down. I will never let you down. Other people might let you down, but not me. And show them conviction and confidence, okay? I don't have time. Man, I know how you feel. I feel the same way. I thought I didn't have time. But I found that this business is perfect for people that have no time. That's why we have leverage in our business. Unlike a job, there's a support system here where we all have to do is refer people, and the executives will go to work for us and help build our business. You tell me another business where you can have a team of people that can build the business for you, acquire customers. So you know what? So you can have more time. It's exactly why I reached out to you, Dan, because I know how much you lack time, and I know you want to spend time with your children, and I know that you're tired of seeing your children grow up in bed. Let's go ahead and take care of that. We together, we can do this together. You see, always get back to the week. Okay, how much do you make? You know what? This question, I posture up in this question when people ask me. I say, you know what? How much I make doesn't matter, because the bank won't let you cash my check. But here's what. But here's another one. How much do you make? You know, I know how you feel. I feel the same way. I thought that I need to know how much everybody else was making. But to tell you the truth, in the next 30 days, my goal is to earn this much. And my goal is not only to earn this much, to work with 5 or 6 people to help them earn this much. Let me ask you a question. Could you use an additional $5,000 to $10,000 a month? I would love to work with you, and together we can do this. I've seen this kind of business before, David. Man, I know how you feel. I feel the same way. I've seen this type of business before too. And just like, but I've seen also a lot of ticket before. We don't make money by seeing things. We have to try, and then we make money. We have to do something, you know, just by seeing doesn't do anything. So great rebuttal here. I need to pray about it. You know, if you're a Christian, I'm like, great, let's pray. You know, I grab hands and I start praying. I know how you feel. I felt the same way. I needed to pray about it too. Have you prayed before? How do you know that this isn't your answer? That's a good question. You know, I have people. You know, I like to tell the story of that gentleman that was stuck in the roof in the top of the house, and there was a flood, and a boat came. Then a car first picked him up, trying to get him. A boat came, and then a helicopter, and then he drowned. He went to heaven. You remember that story? You all heard that story, haven't you? And then God told him, hey, listen, I sent a car, a boat, and a helicopter. So sometimes hindsight's 20/20. Okay, is this a pyramid? Man, I know how you feel. I feel the same way. I thought that this looked like a pyramid, but then what I found is every business out there is in the structure of a pyramid. And however, what I love most about this type of structure is that no matter where you are, you can start from the bottom and build your own company from the top, and you can surpass anybody that's above you. Unlike a job, you can't, once you have a job and you work at the bottom, typically when you climb up, you get stuck in what? Middle management. And usually when they're doing corporate layoffs, who are the first people that get laid off? Middle management. And they finished that conversation for me. Here it is. Only people that on the top make money. That's a good one. I know how you feel. I feel the same way. But then I go back. Where do you work? Does your boss make more money than you? Does his boss make more money than him? Then the boss who is on top that makes more money. To me, that sounds like the people at the top of the company make all the money. Same thing. I mean, it's all about giving people perspective, right? They just lose perspective. You know, when you think about it, that's what they just lose perspective. If GPS is so good, why don't you put 698 in me? Oh my God, this is my favorite one, by the way. All of them. This tops them up. Why don't you pay for me? I know how you feel. I feel the same way. I thought that someone else needs to pay for me, but then what I found is that if I don't believe in myself, how can anybody else believe in me? Ooh, that's a good one. It's right here. Okay, you guys can put it all together. Am I really going to make money? I know how you feel. I asked the same question, and here's what I found. Only you can answer that question. Will you get out of GPS and what you put in? You will get out of GPS what you put in. The people we're working with has made some serious money in the industry, and they're going to help us too. I like to give the gym example. I say, hey, listen, I know how you feel. I felt the same way. I asked the same question. I was worried about it, but then I started thinking about, say, hey, if I join the gym and I say, am I really going to build muscles? Am I really going to lose fat? Well, it all depends. It depends if I go in there. It depends if I do the work. And if I don't maybe I might do the work, but maybe I might doing it wrong. I need a trainer to help me do it right. And my results is the same exact thing. I'll get started if my friend gets started. I know how you feel. Man, I said the same thing. Here's what I found. Most likely they won't get started if you show lack of confidence. Remember, timing and positioning is everything in this business. We have the best people in our leadership team that's going to help you. So let's get some courage and let me help you fill out the application. Amazing. My friend tried something like this before and it didn't work. I know how you feel. I feel the same way. Obviously, there are people in the industry that is making a lot of money. So if it works really well, it looks like your friend gave up soon and worked with the wrong people. We're working with some serious leader that has made a lot of money in this industry, and who you work with is very important. And let me tell you, Marc, you never work with someone like me. You never work with someone that has goals like I do. You never work with somebody that is committed as I am. We're going to go together to the top. Me and you, we're going to capitalize on this. Show confidence and conviction. I'm satisfied with my income. I like what I do. Congratulations, man. I feel the same way. I love what I do. But here's what I found. A lot of successful people like you are working GPS part-time. We have a spare tire. Do you have a spare tire in your car? And just in case, shouldn't we have a spare tire in life? Another stream of income wouldn't hurt, would it? Do you think today people are waking up to the fact that they should have a spare income? Do you think today more than ever, the consciousness of people has elevated to a second stream of income? You best believe it. I'm not interested. I know how you feel. I feel the same way, but here's what I thought afterwards. What am I not interested in? Not making more money? I'm not interested in making more money, having more time for myself. I was like, wait a minute, I'm interested in that. I need to talk over with my spouse and parent. I know how you feel. I feel the same way. And here's what I found. I asked myself, why will you want to talk it over with them? What type of work is your spouse and parents involved in? They tell you, have they ever made a fortune in virtual reality? The only advice someone can give us is from his or her own experience. And it looks like your spouse member has no experience in this industry. In fact, let me instead put you on the phone with an individual that's 28, 29 years old. His name is Marc Issac. This gentleman is incredible. He has made millions of dollars in this industry and knows exactly and has come from zero to hero, from nada to Prada. He has come from everywhere, and this guy knows how to do it. Let me give you his testimony so you can at least have his point of view. Let me do some research. I know how you feel. I feel the same way. But here's what I found. I found that this company is brand new. What type of research are you going to do in the company? You can do research in virtual reality, but the truth is that this will also go into the second objection. I don't know much about VR or AR. When it comes down to making money in this business, it doesn't matter how much you know about VR or AR. What I know is big companies like Facebook, Apple, Samsung are involved in the AR and VR space. There's money to be made in this industry. We have a training and system here that is going to teach you everything you need to know to build a successful business. This sheet will be available for everybody, by the way. So I want to give a round of applause for Mr. Marc Issac and the entire team that made this together. Thank you very much. I'm excited about this, guys. I'm excited for what we have going on. I want you guys to understand that this is about selling. Is a transfer of emotions. It's a transfer of feelings. That's what selling really is. Someone said, I don't know how to sell. That's baloney. You're telling me under the fact that you don't know how to sell. That's what you're telling me right now. Don't worry. We're all selling. This is just what we do all day. You know what? Who's the best salesperson? A 5-year-old. A 5-year-old. I love my 5-year-olds. I have 2 5-year-olds and a 3-year-old. They're constantly closing me. And I fold like a napkin every time. But they're the best at it because there's a transference of emotion. It's a transfer of belief. And you have that already. You have emotions that you can transfer, your belief. And remember, involve them in it. Remember that you want some dreams. You want your goals, but here's the truth. The universe likes to test our commitment. It likes to test our. You want that? Do you really want that? Okay, let me test that out. But I want you to understand that when 2 or 3 people come together in a common purpose, nothing's impossible. We can do everything. The universe then conspires to helping that individual that refuses to be denied, that comes in with their dreams and hopes and conviction. That's the opportunity that we have in place. So when we face uncertainty and we run towards it with confidence and purpose, fear always takes a backseat. So there's no reason to fear failure. Remember, we can fail. I love what Jim Carrey said. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Jim Carrey. Go to Google or YouTube. Look up Jim Carrey's motivational speech. Oh my God, it's incredible. He says, remember that we can fail in life in something we hate. So might as well take a risk in something we love. So let's go out there and make it happen. And I'll leave you with this, with one of my favorite quotes by Dylan Thomas. He says, do not go gentle into the good night. Rage against the dying of the light. Time is ticking, guys. Let's rage in this life. Let's live with purpose and passion and everything. And let's give our soul and let's go out there and show the world what we're made of. And give love and passion and love and care for people and do this in a way that brings purpose to our lives and gives significance to our lives, while at the same time we're making an impact. Let's go out there and make it happen, guys. I love every single one of you. Thank you very much for having me. It's always an honor to speak with you. I'm going to go ahead and give it back to you, Mr. Michael On.
Mr. David Nieves, you fire me all the time, man. The passion you have. You're Latino, Les Brown. I love it. I love it. I love it. You know, it's so incredible. I know we have so many industry legends and leaders in this industry. You guys have tremendous amount of experience, and I know a lot of this is a reminder because, you know, our core base we're starting up with, we've attracted so many leaders. I know you guys see the ID numbers now. It's at like 3,500, 3,600 already. And can you believe we did this all virtually? Like, you know, I'm used to doing traditional network marketing, right? You know, doing one-on-ones, home meetings, going to different offices, big events and training where we'll all get together. But doing it just virtually and what we've done already gets me so fired up. Where are we going to be next few months, you know, as the country opens back up and we could do Zoom plus traditional network marketing, right? We are seriously about to dominate. So now, you know, we briefly went over the pipeline. We briefly went over some rebuttals. I want to go over a few things. I was originally going to go over just launch, but I'll kind of mix it up a little bit since a lot of you guys are leaders. You know, Mr. David Nieves talked about rebuttals, and he said, you know, it's not really closing because we're sorting, right? Professionals sort, right? Amateurs convince. But I want you guys to understand the moment someone enrolls, that's when training begins. It's called monkey see, monkey do. They do what they see, not what they're taught. And I want you guys to understand the timeline of what Mr. Marc Issac said is we must launch people immediately. Like when I mean immediately, like we need to immediately launch people. The quicker, the better. I'll give you a quick story. You know how Marc Issac was found. This is the craziest part. When I first moved to Texas a few years ago, I can't believe it, 10 years ago, when I first moved there first time, I was at a place in my business career where I was starting all over. I started over many times, guys, so I'm never afraid to start over because I did it so many times. But all I know is when I had to start over and move to Texas for the first time, I didn't know how far Houston and Austin, Texas was. It's actually 200 miles away. It's about 3 hours. I had no clue, but you know, I was doing a three-way call and this guy said, hey, I have a prospect who would love to drink coffee with you and talk to you about a business. I said, okay, where does he live? He said, Austin, they want to meet. Perfect. Afterwards, I realized, darn, 2 hour plus away. Oh my gosh. But then what? The new person sees what I do. I don't cancel meetings. So I went all the way there. I don't recommend it, and we don't have to drive right now, but I drove almost 2 hours and a half to meet one person. Never recommend it. But I didn't know. I made a commitment. I'm not going to back down. I go there, and I end up getting somebody started, but obviously I don't want to stay in Austin. I want to go back to Houston. So I launched that person right away. We're making three-way calls to make up appointments for the next 24 hours because my mindset is most likely new people are going to quit with no experience if they don't see some type of results first 24, 48 hours. So I help them make calls and set up a lot of appointments the following day, first 24 hours. The person who I was supposed to meet doesn't show up to the coffee meeting we have, but someone taps my shoulder. I look around and says, excuse me, are you Michael On? I go, yes, I'm Michael On. My friend told me to come to this meeting. He couldn't be here, but I'm here. And that happens to be Marc Issac. That was Marc Issac 10 years ago. Where if I look back, if I didn't launch somebody right away, I went to Austin, I wanted to go back to Houston, so I helped that person make invites. Guess what? I met Marc Issac next day. If I procrastinated on my launch and maybe did it 2 days later, I'm going to do it over the phone because I need to drive back. Guess what? Marc Issac would have never been found. And in our previous company, we would not have built the team that we have if I didn't launch them right away. So remember time frame. When someone gets started, if you can launch them right away, great, but do your best to do it first 24 hours because it's so true what he said. Here's how I look at it. First 24 hours, they're excited, fear is low. Within second day, excitement drops, fear gets higher. within usually 48 hours to 72 max, the moment excitement drops and fear gets higher, they're out of the game. So you got to know that unconsciously in your head. So how do we launch people in this crisis right now with the pandemic going on? Is Zoom meeting. Zoom meeting. Meet them. Get to know them. And the words Mr. Danny Bay taught me that is so important is FORM. Form. We all got to get good at doing what's called form. Form just stands for family, occupation, recreation, motivation, or money. Okay? You want to get to know the people that are getting involved in your team. In fact, one of my favorite quotes from John C. Maxwell is to lead yourself, use your head. To lead others, use your heart. Always touch a person's heart before you ask him for a hand. So here's what you guys got to remember, okay? When brand new people get started, okay, and today we're going to share with you a launch sheet. Again, it's just an example, okay? If you have a different launch document you're going to be using with your team, that's fine, okay? This is just a generic version that we made for all of you to have something similar, okay? And we're going to show you, okay, what is it called? The launch document, okay? So let me pull it out for you guys right now. And all of this, we're going to have a link so you guys can see it, okay? And you guys can get it, okay? Let's see. Awesome. Here it is. Okay? So when people get started, okay, you want to do everything you can to launch them right away, okay? No later than 24 hours on a Zoom. Get to know them. And a launch should only be, okay, 30 minutes to maybe an hour maximum. Here's what you got to remember. Treat brand new people like a baby, okay? Treat brand new people, okay? And you don't want to overcomplicate them and teach them everything you know. Remember, confused people do absolutely nothing. I look at it like math. When I was in school, I had to first learn, okay, numbers. Then I learned what? Addition and subtraction. Then I learned what? Multiplication and division. Then I might learn pre-algebra, algebra, geometry. I forgot the order, but it's steps. You don't want to teach everybody everything you learned today to new people. Hey, this is what I learned. This is what I learned on Saturday training. You're going to overwhelm them. Give them steps and let them earn their way because you always want to keep them curious and wanting more. Okay? So when people get started, obviously through a Zoom meeting, we're going to get them launched. Give them their influencer ID number. Give them their, back office password. Set them up with them, right? For now, it's pre-launch. Let them know it's pre-launch. Let them know the website. You know, get them enrolled in our GPS Facebook and welcome them. Make them feel important, okay? After you all do that, you want to discover the reason why for doing GPS. This is very, very important. You figure out the reason why. I always like to find out their short-term goal, and I want to find out their long-term goal, which is their dream, right? If everything happens perfectly, stars line up, best case scenario, what would you want out of GPS? What would you want in life? Because you know why? It's very important. You need to know why they're doing it is because you're the leader. You're the leader. As long as they know you know what they want and your goal is to help them achieve it, people don't mind paying a price. So after you find out the reason why, we're going to set up a game plan, okay? We're going to set up a game plan. And if you look here, okay, dream plus plan equals success, okay? You want to make sure they become an active influencer first, okay? Let them know it's minimum 100 influencer volume. And if they don't have that, at least they're not going to get paid, okay? You want to make sure there's a culture of people starting with Pico G2 and VRLU subscription. Now, I understand some people are hurting financially and they don't have the money to do it all at once. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the reality. I truly believe we need to set the right culture where everybody somehow finds the money and gets started the right way because it's monkey see, monkey do. If they just got in for only $99, guess what? Their friends get started. Hey, did you do the entire package? And they go, no, but I'm about to. Then guess what? They're also going to say, hey, I'm going to do that too later. Now, if you haven't already, it's okay. Don't be embarrassed, but make sure you do it before launch date, okay? Let them know. Step 2, our goal is to become an influencer 100. What is influencer 100? It's just having one person on your left, one person on your right, having 500 IV each, okay? So if people start with the Pico and VRLU subscription, all it is one on the left, one on the right. But if they don't start the right way, we all know it's gonna take a lot more people to achieve the same position, okay? Then let them know our goal first 30 days is to become an influencer 1,000. We don't need to talk about how are you gonna hit influencer 100,000, 200,000. All of that will be shown in Saturday training. All of that is gonna be shown in leadership training. Let's take baby steps first, because at the end of the day, results is the name of the game. So that's the goal, okay? And so they have a specific plan until Saturday training. Now, let them know what we're gonna do now in order to achieve Influencer 100 is we're gonna have to set up a grand opening, okay? I'm used to home meetings, but right now we could do Zoom. Some of you, okay, that are in areas where the cities are now starting to open up, it could be a home meeting. I always like to set up 2 meetings. Now listen, it's good we have a company presentation multiple times a day right now to support all of you, but I've always liked private meetings because I can make it exclusive for the person who got started. As an example, if David Nieves just started in my team and I launched them, there's nothing better than me doing a private meeting for David because I can make it exclusive. Whether it's 5 people, 10 people, 20 people, I can cater it to David and let the prospects on that presentation know what? That David is gonna be a superstar. He's working directly with me, and today on this Zoom call, today in this whole meeting, we're identifying few key leaders just for David. And David's gonna already feel like a leader. So I love setting up grand openings first 24 hours, 48 hours, okay? Then I'm gonna let them know we're gonna have to make a list. Now I like starting off with top 10, okay? They're gonna all have to make a list of 100, but I don't have time for that right then, right there, because I wanna go into making phone calls, okay? Right? Top 10 people, who should it be? Someone with experience in network marketing, someone who already owns a business, someone who already earns 6 figures or more, somebody who's influential, somebody who's your best friend, your family member. If you got a flat tire in your car, who's the first person you'll call to come help you, right? If you got pulled over, right, and you have to go to jail, I'm joking, right? Who's the first person you'll call to bail you out? Because those are the people you want to let them see right away. And I let them know specifically, we have this here because we're gonna have one on the left, one on the right, right? And everybody else goes underneath. So most of the time, if you make these 2 spots exclusive, people that are already successful, that has the money, don't mind signing up their spouse and their kid or their significant other and their parents or their brother or sister right away so they can override everything that's going on, okay? Then before they even invite, I love to role play because here's the reason why. If you don't role play with them, okay, you don't know what's gonna come out of their mouth, okay? Now again, this isn't the only script. Remember, if your leader teaches you something else that works better for their experience, go ahead. But again, I'm gonna show you just an example, okay? My recommendation to new people that are scared is do 3-way calls. I love 3-way calls. 3-way calls is absolutely the greatest, okay? 3-way calls for people where the phone seems like it weighs 1,000 pounds. Pick up the phone, do 3-way calls for them. But here's an example. Hey, Mark, what are you doing? Presentation date and time. And this is the script I used for the last 15 years that made me a ton of money, right? I always like to tell people, listen, I just got really lucky. I started working with somebody very successful, and they asked me, who do I know that speaks Spanish? They asked me, who do I know that's already successful? They asked me, who do I know that has a great work ethic? They asked me, who do I know that is bilingual? They asked me, who do I know that has no time in their life? Whatever it is, I customize it to them. And I thought about you. Are you open to making extra money around what you currently do? Or are you open to earning some serious money? Or are you open to diversifying your income? Are you open to taking a look at a business that could potentially make a ton of money? If they say yes, it depends, maybe perfect. I can't promise you anything, but this gentleman or this woman I'm working with is going to be at my house or is going to be on the Zoom call to cover all the details. Trust me, if it's at your house, just come, or trust me, get on the Zoom call, right? If they ask, what is it? Trust me, just come. Trust me, get on the Zoom call, right? If they ask again for the second time, what is it? It deals with virtual reality, but it's visual and something you need to see for yourself to understand. Just trust me and get on the Zoom call. Just trust me and come, right? It doesn't matter what you use, but I always want to make sure for the first few invites, I help them. Here's what you guys have to understand, okay? We have appointment sheets we made too. I'm going to show you guys real quickly. Where is that, okay? This is all going to be online, okay? We're going to give this all to you guys, but it's called the promoting list, okay? Because as a leader, you're the leader. A leader is the one responsible for what's going on. You don't want to ever just count on what new people say, because when a new person says, hey, I have 5 people who's going to get on the Zoom, it means they're going to work for having 5 people on the Zoom. It doesn't mean they have the appointment set, it's already done. So as a leader, you want to track. As an example, if I'm working with, let's just say, Cindy, or I'm working with Tommy, right? And I'm working with them. I always want to know for the date, if it's the 12 o'clock meeting or the 4 o'clock meeting or the 7 p.m. meeting, I want to put the time there. I want to put the name of the guest. Hey, the guest that's coming, his name is George. Who is it invited by, right? And then I want to know at the end, were they A's, B's, or C's? Because you know why? A's means they were in, B's we're going to follow it with, and C, we're going to sort, right? But as a leader, you want to send reminders, okay? At least 30 minutes before, and edify the presentation. You don't want to just text them, get on, boom, and count on them. Make it a big deal. Listen, make sure you're on this call at least a few minutes early. The people that are going to be going over this information is extremely successful. You don't want to miss out on any of the information, right? And you want to have this. So here's the reality, okay? When you launch brand new people and when you're organized and when you track numbers, the results you want to have after launch of a brand new person is you want to make sure they're super excited. You want to make, before you end the call or before you end the meeting, you want to make sure there's guests and appointments already set. You want to make sure that the new person ordered their Pico device. You want to make sure they subscribe to their VR Loo. You want to make sure you clearly know what their reasons why are, okay? You got to make sure they're empowered and know they have a mentor and a system they could rely on. You want to make sure they're confirmed to be on the first Saturday training. You want to make sure they're confirmed to be on the first, okay, team call we're going to have. You want to make sure they know when the next Influencer 100 leadership training is and they want to qualify for it, because you want to make sure they understand everything going on. So here's the thing. Some of you might be fairly new to this industry and we're going over this information fast and you might not fully get what I'm saying. But we're going to make sure all of you over a period of time get used to doing it this way and get used to working with the people. Here's what I want you guys to remember. You're the leader. And if you're going Influencer 200K and you know you're going to be there next few years of time, next few months of time, and you have your goals set no matter what, just understand you got to be the confident one and never show fear, never show doubt, because here's what my mentors have always taught me. It's called negatives up, positives down. Are we going to have people that quit the business? Heck yeah. Do you know how many people quit my business over the last 15 years? Shoot, you don't even want to know, discourage some of you. But I don't need to share the quitters to my new person. If you have something to complain about, complain to your uplines, not to your downlines. Some people go, well, why do I got to hide it to my brand new person? Listen, I started off this call by saying brand new people on our team are like babies. For all of you parents in this room, you know what I'm so grateful about my mom and dad? You know, they're separated, they got divorced. But when I was young, I had no clue how bad their relationship was when I was super young, because they never showed it. I'm so grateful for them. They never showed it. It doesn't mean they were not going through problems. They didn't show it to me because I was a kid. See, for all of you parents, if you're about to go bankrupt, you're not going to, and you're about to get your foreclosed and you're about to get kicked out of the place you're living, you're not going to tell your little 5-year-old mom and dad are out of work and we're going to get kicked out of the house tomorrow. You're not going to show that. You're going to show them if they're mature enough. Same thing, brand new people who start right now, they're brand new. As an example, eventually when we get Pico devices, right, some people, it might not work right away. It's not our fault. It's the device. It's like Apple phone. I got it one time. The first one I got, the device was malfunction. I had to go back to the Apple store. But I don't need to tell a new person, dude, I just got my Pico device and it sucked. No, you always, negatives go up. Positives go down. Okay? When they're ready, you could let them know. You know, to David, to Mark, you know, to Mr. Thomas Berry, you know, the experienced leaders we're working with, yeah, we talk both positives and negatives. Oh, this just happened. We need to get better there. Oh, this just happened. Let's fix that area. But to somebody that's brand new, they're watching everything you do, everything. When you're a leader, just know you're living in a glass house. People can see everything you do. So always remember, every one of you, act as if you're already an influencer 10K, influencer 25K, influencer 100K, what would you do? What would you do? What would you do? That's how you got to be like. I'm not saying pretend like you make a lot of money. No. I've heard so many people say, fake it till you make it. That's crap. I'm sorry. You don't need to fake it. This is brand new. We're in pre-launch. Always talk about where we're going. Learn what Mr. David Nieves said. Feel, felt, found. Learn what Mr. Marc Issac said, the pipeline, and just get better. And if you don't know the answer to the questions your prospect and people are asking, just be honest. That's a very great question. Let me get back to you with information that's going to be accurate. Or let me put you on the phone with somebody who has 100% of the information. But always remember, be real. Be real. You don't have to act like an expert. I still don't know a lot about VR. I still don't know a lot about ARs. I had slides made originally for this training, but it was so bad. Mr. James Hsu, the CEO, or the CEO of VR Lu said, Mike, I wouldn't use that. I was like, okay, right? I suck at it, but it's all good. Marc Issac can make it, right? My grammar's horrible, but you know what? David Nieves is great at it. That's why we're a team. Together, everyone achieves more. So remember, guys, when people start, you gotta launch them. Get to know them. By the time you're done, you better know your leaders and your people. You better know if they're married or not. You better know what kind of work they do. You better know what they like about it and what they don't like about it. You better know if they have kids or not. You know what I mean? You better know, right, what their favorite sports are. You just get to know people. We're in network marketing, but it also stands for relationship marketing. We build relationships with people. And I'm telling you right now, people will quit jobs, people will quit businesses, but they usually don't quit on their friends. And I'm telling you right now, I am so grateful. I have friends like Marc Issac, Tommy, Danny Bain, and so many of you right now, I want to get to know when we do meetings, when we do regionals, when we eventually do internationals, when we do our corporate launch event eventually. So many of you I want to meet at Influencer 1000 retreat and leadership we're going to have in Las Vegas. That's going to be all expense paid. I can't wait until we get to go to Singapore together, Influencer 10K. I can't wait until we're Influencer 100K and get to choose the country or some exotic place we go together. So get excited. And the final reminder I have this, the launch is in 10 days. The launch is in 10 days. We have a window of time right now. We might be at well over 3,000 business partners, but I truly believe we could double, triple it within 10 days. I truly believe what Mr. David Nieves said. We could get to 20,000 influencers in US next 60, 90 days if we all get dead serious and understand this timing will never happen again. Some of you go like, hey, you know, once the goggle comes, I think I could do more in business. Trust me. You can do a lot more business without it, just off the excitement that something is coming, and none of us have it, but we're all going to figure it out. Some of you are like, man, I would get more business partners in if I could see the volume right now and see a better reporting system than this pre-launch. No. This is when you could get more people in because it's not perfect. It's not great. We're going to make mistakes. we're not going to be able to we're not going to email the company and get responses. That's a good thing because we're in the process of hiring employees, training them. And with COVID-19, it's a little difficult right now, but that's what makes this so amazing. And remember, the first quarter of 2020 and up to now might have been depressing for some of you, might have been the worst first 4 months of 2020, but I promise you, it's only going to get better. And at the end of the year, when we do our countdown for New Year's, you know what we're all going to say for the ones that stuck around, that stayed the course? We're going to say, man, first 4 months of 2020 was crazy, but still, this was the best year ever. Trust me when I tell you this. We're so blessed, all of us, to be alive. We're also blessed to be a part of GPS. We're so blessed. This is a blessed company, guys. Think about it. How in the world does Mr. Danny Bay start a company during coronavirus and have over 23,000 people join him through Korea and US without a single real meeting? Japan just pre-launched or started signing up leaders, and we're officially going to pre-launch next few days. That's 3 countries in the first 5 months of the world's craziest pandemic ever took place. So understand, for all of you with faith, I think this is a company that's blessed. For all of you that doesn't, just know you're with good people that care about people, and we're going to continue to improve. We're going to continue to get better and continue to improve the system. So appreciate everything going on. Let's pack tomorrow's training. Let's make confirmation calls. Let's make sure 30 minutes before tomorrow's training, you call everybody and make sure they're on it. And just like Marc Issac said, right after the training, take massive, massive action. Don't wait for the next company presentation. You do it. Or ask your upline leaders to do it. And let's have a lot of presentations going on because the countdown starts now, 10 days left. So congratulations for all of you for qualifying for this leadership training. We'll make sure you guys get all the documents. I think Marc Issac actually put it on the chat. So get it. And if you haven't, let us know and we'll send it to you. It's just an example. Other than that, guys, love you guys. Let's make it happen. God bless. Have a great night. And we'll see you guys in tomorrow's training.